on to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to our reaction to the sad news that Jean Phillipe Gbamin has been sidelined for another 6 months, apparently, with an Achilles tendon injury. I'm here with Terry to discuss what is the latest development, really, what it means for Everton. Terry, will start off by saying, first and foremost, as cruel twists of fate go, how much more Everton can you possibly get? You couldn't write this, could you?
No, I mean, anyone who's on Twitter will have seen the little video that went around last night. Bill Kenwright many years ago, and it's just a couple of second clip from going, it's terrible, but it's Everton. It's like, where was this clip for years and years and years? We needed it.
For about 15 years, we've needed that.
I know. It's absolutely heartbreaking for him, isn't it? I mean, we were just saying off camera then, I mean, I hate to be a pessimist, but, you know, his two injuries that he's had are two potential career enders, aren't they? Like a torn quadricep muscle and then a ruptured Achilles straight after it. I worry for his mental state. You know, it must be, you know, soul destroying to rehab and work so hard and, you know, just be on the brink of coming back and actually be on the training pitch with your teammates and then to suddenly have to start from scratch again. But at what point do you think, is he going to be able to come back after nearly 2 years out injured and go straight into the Premier League? Which, don't forget, this is not a player who is used to playing in the Premier League. It's not like a player who's been around years and understands the pace and the intensity. It's going to be difficult for him. I mean, I'm worried for him. It's just, you know, terrible, heartbreaking for him, isn't it?
It's not something Gbamin can control at all, and obviously there's a lot of frustration amongst the fan base. Maybe it's not directed towards Gbamin, but I think there seems to be an undercurrent of, I think we have too many injuries at the club. Is there something that we could be doing differently, do you think, to prevent that?
I don't know. Other people have their own opinions. From what I've heard, we've actually got a world-class medical team, but there's just nothing you can do about freak injuries. The problem is typically we don't get consistent injuries in the sense of there's someone new injured every week, but whenever we get them, it's always for ages. We never get, he misses one match and then he's back. We never get he's pulled up but he'll be fine for the next. We always get month-long, several months injuries. It's absolutely, infuriating. I think that's come out with a lot of supporters. Like, a lot of supporters were looking forward to seeing Gbamin because, he's a new player. We've hardly seen him. I don't think anyone can even remember the games he played at the beginning of the season. And, we were going to go into this new window of games we're going to play at the end of June. Looking forward to seeing him. He literally would have been a new player. And then, he's not just, he's going to miss the odd game. No, he's out for 6 months. The manager who signed him will have been gone over a year by the time he kicks a ball again for Everton. It's just absolutely dreadful for him. And if it wasn't the case already, I think, Marcel Brands, Carlo Ancelotti, the whole club have got to basically make the really, it was already difficult for them. They're going to have to, make the really hard decision again and just plan for life without him. I don't think they can, I don't think they can go into next season with any designs on Gbamin playing a considerable part. I think they're going to have to look to recruit under the assumption that they're not going to get to use Gbamin, and if they do, it's going to be a bonus.
Exactly. I think that's definitely the mentality they've got to take, and that's obviously what we're going to move on to now. The big issue is basically the squad standpoint. Our midfield, regardless of the Gbamin situation, is horribly under strength. Like you say, a lot of people have pinned their hopes on Gbamin's return, adding some solidity to our midfield. And, we've got the same spineless players that we're stuck with now that we had before the break. Your Schneiderlin, Sigurdsson, Delph, players who've persistently let the team down this year so far. So we definitely need to strengthen there for sure when the next window comes around, whenever that is. What do we do? Who do we looking at bringing in now?
Depends on what we can afford, really. I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree that we already had a central midfielder on our agenda anyway, regardless of who that may be. Whether we can afford another one, I don't know, or whether we pursue the main target and then possibly try for the B target and make do somewhere else because of, what's happened to Gbamin. I don't know, but we've got a lot of central midfielders. But I think really only people that are, for the most part, I think people are only really confident in Gomez, and we're hoping Gbamin was going to be another one. And Schneiderlin, Sigurdsson especially. Haven't really, made a lot of friends with Evertonians this season through some of the performances, but at least one of them.
Fabian Delph certainly hasn't.
Yeah. I mean, Delph hasn't had the best introductory season. I do think he'll probably start games now with Gomez by virtue of Gbamin being out, but he can't play that many games in such a short space of time just from his, previous injury record. So it's probably going to be a combination of Gomez with either Delph and Tom Davies, realistically, going into these last 9 games, because, fingers crossed nothing happens to Gomez. I can't see Sigurdsson pairing with Gomez very effectively unless he was to go on the left-hand side. So we're just going to have to make do in midfield. We've been making do without Gbamin all season, and now whoever we're going to get in the summer might have to be. It's either going to be another signing on top of that, or there's going to be a reprieve for one of the other midfielders who may have been on the out list. It might be Schneiderlin, could be Tom Davies. Someone's either going to come in extra, or we're going to have to make use of a player we weren't planning to use.
Yeah, that's the real disappointment, is that it's another blow in our attempt to try and turn things around and sort of rebuild as quickly as possible. But obviously that's an issue for the summer. What, like you say, are you looking at possibly being Gomez and Delph for the remaining 9 games then, if they're fit?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd do personally. We've seen that, Carlo likes to rotate and he pulls a few surprises with the team selections. But, someone's got to go alongside Gomez, and can't be Gbamin now, which apparently there was rumours on Twitter. I don't know whether it was the Athletic, said that he was going to partner with Gomez. That's why they were playing foot tennis, which is how he got the injury. Not sure, but I'd have Delph just because he's the most mobile of the defensively minded players. Let's put it that way. Schneiderlin's injured anyway, but even if he wasn't,
I don't actually know Schneiderlin was injured.
Yeah, it seems like a year ago now, but he had an injury. I can't remember what it was, but he posted a picture, didn't he? He was on his couch in like a leg sort of brace thing, and whether that's cleared up now, I don't know. I can't imagine it has. We've not heard no news to say he has, but if fit, it's going to have to be Delph because he's more mobile. Even with Schneiderlin's fit, he's more mobile, and Schneiderlin, he's more defensive minded than Sigurdsson is, and I imagine it'll be Delph and Davies competing for that one spot, and Sigurdsson and Gomez competing for the other, which I think's one of the safer bets in the season.
It's a banker, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, in terms of maybe bringing in, obviously you said a new centre mid's on the agenda. We were linked with Wendell, I think, recently, who's a very good player, but again, I think he's more of a Sigurdsson-Gomez kind of player than a CDM who can maybe take on the role that Gbamin would have taken on. And it makes people ask questions. I think one of the names that's obviously been brought up a lot once this news broke yesterday is the possibility of maybe bringing Idrissa Gana Gueye back. Would you be behind that idea if it was possible, or is that something we need to move away from?
I can understand why people want to do that, and I wouldn't be devastated if they did, but I'd not like it. I want the club to move away from all this short-termism. I think if Gana Gueye comes back to the club, I think that's an admission of failure on getting a different target. It wouldn't be an issue, an admission of failure on Gbamin, because obviously his injury record was pretty good before he got here. But if we're going to get Gana Gueye back, be that permanently or on loan, that means we can't get the targets who we're planning for. Because let's be honest, we weren't planning this summer to bring Idrissa Gueye back. But if it was him or go with what we've got, then definitely get Idrissa Gueye back. It's just got whoever comes in's got to be able to play in the 4-4-2, even when everyone fits. The central midfielders have struggled the most with the change in system, I think. We were linked with Højbjerg, weren't we, from Southampton? I wonder whether that will be something they you pursue more aggressively now? You know, obviously we don't know what the financial situation is going to be with Everton, never mind any other clubs, and especially not all the Premier League clubs, but he has been linked quite heavily, and he seems to be someone who could possibly go in that slot in a 4-4-2 next to Andre Gomez. But again, it's too early days to be talking about transfers. We need to get the season over with first and then see what the financials are.
I think that's a big point, is get it over with, because to be honest, I know obviously the news came out yesterday that the season is going to be restarting in a couple of weeks. What's your take on that?
I've wanted to restart personally. I know a lot of people don't. I think if it can be done, it should be done. There's obviously a debate to be had whether it's safe or whether it's right to. I'm not really, an expert on that, but I'm glad it's coming back. And it's a shame about the stadium, but I don't. It's not anyone's fault. It's not the Premier League's fault.
It's not feasible to do that at the moment.
We can't wait for a vaccine or whatever it takes to get fans back in stadiums to restart football, because too many clubs will go under, even big clubs. So I'm happy for it to come back as long as it's safe. I mean, it's going to be strange because the Bundesliga games have felt, the quality's been all right and they've not been bad games, but it just hasn't felt the same. It feels like pre-season games. Whether it's when you're watching Everton, it'll feel the same. I don't know, but I'm glad it's back. I'm not one of the people who wants it to be wrote off if it can be helped. But obviously, there's a wider conversation of whether it is safe to do so, and I'm not an expert on that, so I don't want to speak to it.
Yeah, no. I think, to be honest, it's not a case of cancel the season in my eyes. I think for me, it's more as an Everton fan, and our season was already well and truly written off before the lockdown happened. I'm just annoyed that obviously it's going to resume a season that's already a write-off. It's like a lot of people are looking forward to the return, but I just think it's going to drag because there's nothing to play for really for us in the last 9 games. I mean, we could get into Europe, but it's hard to see at the moment, just what's going to happen. Obviously, it could be completely different. We don't know what's going to happen.
But, I mean, there is things to play for, but they're not, cups or European competitions or anything like that. It's small notes with the Queen's face on. That's what we're playing for. We're playing for money to make sure we lose as little as possible, and keep hold of as much as we had planned for as possible. So I don't know. I mean, you say. I mean, a lot of people are upset, are unhappy that, potential neutral ground for the derby and so on. And the one thing I will say is I don't think, and this is not a comment on Liverpool at all, but there's no integrity in the league. Now, yes, they'll win the league and they'll fully deserve it and what have you, but as a whole, I think it's not even anyone's fault, but how can you, treat a league as legitimate when you're playing 8 games where the reverse fixture, how can we... Merseyside derby is a perfect example. How can you say the league is got integrity when we've played at a packed Anfield, but they've played at maybe not even an empty Goodison? It might be a
empty Wembley or empty Etihad or whatever they've been saying.
Yeah, and I'm not even having a stab at Liverpool in that regard. It's just this season is really outside of Liverpool, who practically has it wrapped up anyway. It's going to be a warped table. The only position that's probably going to be what it would have been anyway is the first position. So everyone else is just can feel a little bit deflated and aggrieved. And I just feel like I hope we do well. I'm glad it's coming back. I think personally we should try and get it back as safely and as efficiently as we can. But it's a kick in the stomach, isn't it? Let's be honest. Just having this happen. I mean, when it began. I mean, did anyone think it was going to be like this? I thought it was only going to stop for several weeks and then come back, but I think everyone got a rude wake-up call on that one.
Certainly, yeah. But for me, I think it's just a bit draining having a season that where we know we're not going to win anything drag on even longer than it really needed to. Obviously, there's a lot more important things than the footy season, and I think we've made that point on numerous occasions, but I think bringing the season back, I think it's just hard to get excited about it, knowing that there's not really much to play for, and especially while there's going to be no like fans and stuff. It's going to be a really weird experience, and obviously, having seen what it's like in Germany, I can't see it being much better in England. I mean, I think maybe if Everton win a game or two, it might change my mind, but it's that's probably what it's going to take. If we start actually getting entertained by the football that we see, and hopefully maybe it's given Carlo a chance to assess things, the sort of months off that we've had, and that's the only real possibility that could benefit us, is the layoff giving us a bit more time to reassess what we can do with the squad for the time being. And hopefully we can all we've got to do is do as well as we can in those 9 games. Let's see what happens.
Like, ironically, one of the benefits for Everton would have been we got Gbamin back ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, wasn't to be. But you'll feel better about it. As soon as you see Richarlison take to the pitch, you'll suddenly realise why you're happy to have it back.
Yeah, that'll be it. Obviously, before we finish, just got a few other things to mention about Gbamin. I think many people on social media, I think yourself included, Terry, made a brilliant point about the mental side of the setback. It's just the latest in a long line of setbacks for Gbamin since he came here, and it must be having a detrimental effect on his mental health. How do you think the club's going to go about supporting him now in his recovery? How much of a part are they going to have to play now?
Well, I'll just say it as simple as this. He's at the right club for stuff like that, because Everton will look after you. They look after the supporters, they look after the players, they look after everyone. It's been used as like not explicitly a marketing tag, but it's a bit of branding, Blue Family. But the club do treat you like a family, and he must be devastated. But there's some clubs, some of the super elite clubs can get a little bit frustrated with players who've got injury records and are not used to being patient and haven't got supporters who are patient. Like Real Madrid, spring to mind. I don't think they'd have much sympathy. They certainly didn't when it was Jonathan Woodgate all those years ago. But I think at Everton it's different. I think he'll get all the support he needs and then some. There's no magic fix for him. He's gonna be gutted for probably a while, but. On the mental side of things, I've got no worries from the club's point of view, put it that way.
Certainly, and finally, obviously, we're frustrated as fans with what's happened now. Obviously, it's another setback, not just for him, but for the club as well, and our prospects on the pitch. But what can we as fans do to support him? Surely the club will put on some sort of event. We did this with Andre Gomez earlier on in the season. Do you reckon the club would allow us to do something like that for Gbamin?
Oh, I mean, it won't be the same because of coronavirus. It was get well soon cards with Gomez and such, wasn't it? But I think they'll do something. Like, the club's very creative and great for stuff like that. I can imagine down the line they'll have special Zoom calls to Gbamin and stuff like that, and they'll look after them. Yeah, they'll look after him. They'll make sure he knows that he's at the right club. At this difficult time in his career. Just hope he doesn't have any more setbacks. He's had enough injuries for his whole career in this one spell. So hopefully this is the end of it for him once he gets back from this.
Definitely, fingers crossed. And of course, that's the only way we could finish this show that's by wishing Jean-Phillipe Gbamin as quick and painless a recovery as possible from this setback. And hopefully we will see him back on the pitch for Everton at some stage in the future. I think we can both agree on that, can't we?
Yeah, 100%.
So fingers crossed it won't be too long until we see Gbamin in some capacity play for Everton at long last. As always, guys, at the end of our show, give us a like and a comment. Let us know your opinions on where we go from here in terms of bolstering our midfield options, as we said before. Give us a subscribe as well for more great content. And of course, thank you for watching on the Toffee Blues.